Hey, it's Cody. I'm here with a double review. This is a book and deck that they go together. Supposedly you can use the deck without the book, but personally I would not. Um, I've kind of been putting off this review because I have such a weird relationship with the writing of Danielle Dulski. Um, we'll just talk about it. Okay, we will talk about the book first, and then we will take a look at the deck. Sorry, the lighting is like weird here. Alright, so this is The Seasons of Moon and Flame by Danielle Dulski. She also wrote The Holy Wild. Recently released was The Holy Wild Grimoire by her. She has a couple other books. I don't have them. Alright, so this says it's a wild dreamer's epic journey of becoming. So I actually didn't read any reviews on this. I didn't see anyone recommend it. I picked this up for myself probably 3 years ago now. When I saw this at a local bookstore, and it looked really interesting. The cover, okay, I'm a stupid cover bitch, so I go for things with cool covers sometimes. Prepare to be mentored by the sacred hags. It seemed really cool. I've mentioned in other videos, I'm really into, like, crone shit. Like, I feel like becoming in the crone phase of my life, or anyone, it requires the accumulation of knowledge, and I feel like it kind of almost has to be conscious. I don't know. Man, I'm stressing about, like, being a good crone, okay? I don't know why I'm like this, okay? But this just really seemed like a good thing. So let's talk about what I love about this book. So I have worked through this book twice, 2 years in a row. And the way that it's set up is it has, okay, Opening Springs Portal, House of the Garden Hag. So it goes through the year, and you start, in spring, or really, I mean, you can do this whenever you get it. You just have to line up your like, full moons. But ultimately, you go through each of the seasons, and you, like, meet a hag, that's waiting for you as, like, you're the main character, right? Moving through these seasons, moving through these landscapes, and you spend each season with the hag of that season. And for each moon cycle within it, there are journal prompts, there's spell work you can do, and there are, like, stories that these crones tell you. And I love the way this book is set up. It is so cool. There's, like, little poems about each one, right? So we've got an overview. Oh, that's a bookmark from where I had stopped doing this, actually. All right, so each moon phase has a name, right? So the Season of the Elder's Altar. This is, I think, the third moon phase in spring. Season of Tender Roots was the second one, right? Here's the Season of Holy Thunder. This is at some point in the summer. And it's just all these pages you see blocked in the light gray. These are actually, like, the crones, the hags telling you stories, right? And then there's, like, a practice for it. This is just so exactly what I feel like I need. I love how it's just connecting directly to the seasons. That's something that I really strive to do in my practice. There's also, for years when there are 13 moon cycles, there is a 13th moon thing in here somewhere. And then the book is really intended to, just be worked through cyclically. And I've done this more than once. I think I've probably gone through this maybe 2.5 times, actually, now that I think about it. So I had a journal for it and everything. I didn't necessarily do all of the spell work. I'm not really a person who does spells directly out of books. I might, take a little piece or part here and put it into my own thing. Okay, so that is what I love about it. My issue is Danielle Dulsky's writing style. And I hate this so bad because I love her ideas, the way she approaches things. What I hate is how she writes them down. Okay, it's the writing style is very, I don't even know if flowery is the right word. I can't tell if it's filler because really if these ideas were just written in regular ass sentences in here, it would be like half the length or something. I don't know. How many pages are we even talking here? There's just some appendices. I don't know. Okay, 303. So, I mean, that's pretty chunky for a book like this, and I feel like it probably could have been about half that. In here, there's a lot of just not even necessarily over-explanation. It's like... Let me see if I can find you a good example here. Okay, we'll just read right here, all right, the beginning here. The language of spring leaves out the witty banter and proper rhetoric, forsaking the serious grumbles and pensive frowns of winter for those joyous belly-wobbling laughs that can erupt only from their low places on warmer days. And while you might read that sentence and be like, okay, I mean, you know what it means, right? Or maybe fucking not, man. Sometimes I run into sentences and I'm like, fucking what, man? I gotta read it more than once. Okay, and you might think, okay, well, that's kind of a beginning of something, or some shit like that. Those final long moons of winter have been a birth, to be sure, and you have awoken this brighter morning with a heart full of lusty pagan poetry, and eyes that long for the reds of rose petals and 10,000 shades of green only a sprouting early spring garden can show you. The writing is too fucking much, okay? It's a writing style that is well suited to the Hags telling stories, right? The hag starts out her story, where's one where she starts, actually? I don't even know, alright? For the stories, it's like a very stylized storytelling voice that would have worked well if it had been contained into these little stories that the crone is telling you. But for all of the text outside of that, to still have that, it doesn't have any power by the time it gets to the places where it should have been more sparingly used, if that makes any sense. You can just type a sentence. It's okay. You don't have to add in all this bullshit. I don't know, man. It's so exhausting, and I'll put this book away for a while, and then I'll be like, I'm gonna try this again. So then I read it in the first, 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, actually, no, this writing style is cool, but no. It's just so much bullshit washing over me as I'm reading, that I stop paying attention, and I can't even tell what it's saying anymore, and I have to keep going back and reading shit, and it's not... I don't know why no one has been like, please just write some of these sentences. There's a lot of places. It's less in this one. The Holy Wild, which I also have by the same author, was worse about this. She's cut down a lot on. For some reason, a lot of places where she'll call you, the reader, beloved or my love, or just I don't think that she meant it in a patronizing way, but I don't like it. I can't forget that I'm reading. Does that make sense? I like to read and forget that it's my brain making up shit from little lines on the page, right? I cannot forget that I'm reading when I'm reading this because I'm always having to almost edit inside my head to get to the point of the sentence. And that, I hate that. I hate it. It's just, the run-on sentences with just descriptive words puked all over in them, and there's never a time that it lets up. This entire 303 pages sound just like those sentences that I've read to you. And again, that writing voice would have been powerful if it was only used in the myths or the stories that the hags of each season are telling you, but since it's used every sentence for 303 pages, it's actually just fucking irritating. So I struggle with this book. I gave myself time off last year from doing this. Like, I like doing it, I just hate reading it. I like the ideas, right? Like, if we look in here, we've got, like, headings that are fucking beautiful. I don't know, man. Where is the shit? Alright, there's a Selkie Hag's pelt. We're blessed by the changing tides. I'm trying to find some good ones here, because I know there are some. Like, one of the seasons is called the Seasons of Orphan Dreams. That's just, like, sad and beautiful, and I love that. It's the Season of Midday Grace. It's just, I struggle with the patience to read this shit. She also tends to use the word heathen, more as in, like, non-Christian, or, like, blasphemy, you know, rather than the way that it tends to be used now, having more to do with, like, working with the Norse pantheon. And it kind of strikes a weird chord in me every time it calls me, because the book calls me out a bunch in it, like, or you as the reader, me as the reader, saying that we're heathens and things, and it just, words change and take on different connotations, and that strikes me as a weird choice for it. Also, okay, now this is just a me thing, all right? I'm asexual. I don't experience sexual attraction. And a lot of this book seems to just be functioning on the assumption that everyone reading it is, like, horribly sexually repressed. I get that, you know, in things kind of like this, springs for fucking, right? But it's just completely peppered throughout the entire book. Honestly, the prevalence of it in this says a lot more about the author, than it really, I think, even does about society around it. It's kind of weird. I don't know. For me, it by no means am I saying that it was intentionally like this, but it just makes me, quite frankly, feel excluded. Like, okay, this was a book for somebody, but not me. I mean, and I feel like that a lot. Because of this, everything is very sexualized, but also demonized in the same way. Like, I don't know. It's weird. And I almost wish that it had just been sort of confined to the spring situation and not just peppered through it constantly, because it's constantly like, oh, by the way, this is about something that's not you. That's just a me thing. Although maybe some other people feel like that. I don't know. So I do have some healthy criticisms of this book, I think. And I'm not trying to be mean, because I want to love this book. I want to love this. And I wish that the writing style, still, I could even deal with the sexual shit all the time, because I spent a lifetime putting up with that. It's just, the writing style exhausts me. I can only take it for a few minutes at a time before I gotta fucking put it away. And then just all of a sudden, partway through the book, I'll just be like, I can't fucking do this. Like, I am wasting my time reading shit that's fucking irritating me, even though I like the ideas. I just don't like how it's written. Okay, so, when I was more into that book, though, alright, I've lost patience with reading things that I'm not enjoying, in the last couple years. Well, maybe the last year or so, I'm allowing myself to, like, DNF, did not finish books and shit. So, okay, going back a couple years, imagine my joy when I saw that there was a deck coming out that went with the book. The Sacred Hags Oracle, right? And we meet sacred hags throughout the Seasons of the Moon and Flame book. So I was very excited. I mean, written by Danielle Dulski. The illustrations are done by Janine Hausman, who I think is also known as the Sigil Witch. I was excited. So there's cards in here that are, like, specific hags. There are cards in here that are the seasons. So, like, the Season of Orphan Dreams or Holy Thunder or whatever they were. There were cards for each of those. Okay, so excited to get this. And then it showed up. So it's got a guidebook. We'll look at that in a minute. Okay, I'll get this out of here. So I've got it in order here. We've got the Hags, right? Here's the Hag of the North Mountain. The Hag of the Oak Grove. The Hag of Holy Stones. Now, while these might seem okay on their own, they come from the myths and stories and things told within the Seasons of Moon and Flame book. Here's my issue. The first thing is this deck, okay, I like the art style. The color choices are fucking horrendous. They do not feel like the book feels. Reading the book feels sacred. It feels sort of holy. These pictures don't necessarily... Well, okay, it's the color choice that makes it not feel right to me. Also, considering this is called Sacred Hags, why am I not seeing older people depicted in these? I mean, maybe she is, but like, these aren't hags, right? These aren't crusty old bitches that are going to tell you how it is. I think this is the only one that is. Like, what's going on? I'm not sure why the decisions were made for this deck that were made. It doesn't feel the way that the book does. Honestly, getting the deck, if I hadn't... Oh, here's the Seasons. Salted Bones. If I hadn't read the book first and been expecting this to go with it better, I might have been more impressed by this deck. But I'm not. Actually, this deck was sort of the nail in the coffin for this book for me. It threw the whole thing off. Whereas I felt like this was about to help me deepen my relationship with the yearly practice of going through the book and doing the things in it. It actually just sort of drove a wedge between me and the book because it made me feel like maybe I was misinterpreting the book or imagining it to be more, I don't know, deeper sort of than the way these cards are depicted. And the bright, almost cartoony colors were a thing for me. I'm not sure why they wouldn't have been made like more seasonal colors maybe, or just I pictured something much more earthy than this. And maybe that's a me thing, but the Sacred Hags Oracle having like a total of maybe 3 older people depicted really just made me, the way that I was trying to work through it, it just ruined it. Like anything that I had sort of tried to come up with like that, I'm happy with that. Anything that I had tried to like justify in my mind just disintegrated in the face of this deck. And like I said, if I hadn't read the book, I might have had more patience for this. But I do expect fucking hags to be shown in a Sacred Hags Oracle deck. Like, this is some, I found it really disappointing. And I tried really hard for a while, each moon phase, to put that moon phase's like title, the season of whatever, on my altar. It never felt the way that I had felt when I read the book. I mean, I was irritated still, so I guess that was, I guess my irritation was similar. But I found this so disappointing. And while, if I could let go, well, no, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to try and make any excuses or justifications. I am not happy with this deck. It was really a disappointment to me. The guidebook is actually worse at calling you, like, beloved and shit, than the, like, actual entire books that Danielle Dulsky has written, which fucking irritated me more. Oh my god, why is it not looking? I think it's the weird sun. So we'll go through here. Let's find one. All right. So we've got Grandmother Speaks. We grieve because we love something so well, be it a soft-bodied pet, a relationship, a grandmother, way of being in the world, or a potent place. We grieve because we were struck so completely by this thing we have now lost. We must trust in the medicine of this ache. The human animal grieves, and those things we have lost want the gift of our memories and our stories. I mean, that's not bad, but there's ones that keep calling you beloved and shit. So, if I had to give... I'm trying to think of, like, a star rating, okay? The Sacred Hags Oracle is 2 stars, 2 out of 5, alright? It doesn't live up to even the book. That also irritates me. It feels completely disconnected. The fact that I'm sitting here, I think the thing that annoys me actually the most is the lack of, like, age diversity in this, right? Like, where are the hags? Where's the old crusty bitches, right? I'm here to hear painful truths from old people who have lived them, and the fact that there's, like, 2 older people depicted in this deck is fucking not it for me. And I'm sorry if anyone's fucking irritated in my review of this, but if you like it, go give it a good review somewhere. So that's 2 out of 5. As for Seasons of Moon and Flame, okay, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5, and the reason, okay, sometimes I struggle giving books 3 out of 5. For the most part, I tend to give 3 out of 5 stars to books that really didn't make an impression on me. It was just fucking middle of the road, like with fiction books. 3 stars means in fucking a month, I'm not going to be able to remember it from, like, 5 other books that were very fucking similar, right? It wasn't good. It didn't even make an impression on me for being bad. Okay, so 3 stars is my most damning, star rating for a book. But for this one, it's very different because the ideas in here are fucking 5-star ideas. Just the themes and things, but the writing of it is a fucking 1. I can't stand it. It's pretentious. It fucking irritates me. It's exhausting. And so the 3 is like the Chariot, right? I'm taking my 2 opposing ideas and I'm, like, merging them together in 3 stars. So, I do want to say, though, that for all the shit that I just talked, I still did go ahead and purchase Danielle Dulsky's newest book. I think might have come out a couple months ago at the point that I'm filming this. The Holy Wild Grimoire. So, I mean, I'm still buying the shit, but I'm irritated the entire time I'm trying to fucking read it. I actually, a kid spilled Kool-Aid on my last copy of this book, and I bought a second one knowing damn well that I half hated it. So, there's that, right? So yeah, 3 stars, 2 stars, irritated, disappointed. So, I mean, if you got any questions, or, you know, you think that I was unfair to this deck, and book combo, you know, let me know in the comments. Or if you've read it and agree, you know, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, bye!